Good morning, you all. Welcome to another episode of Tiffany. Tiffany can't bring today, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. A very stupid o'clock to one and all. And we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, for God damn it, another rant. Neurotypical society. As you know, once those words come out of my mouth, it's going to go downhill from here. I would like to logically move on. I have cases like the horrific atrocities being done every single day at the Judge Rotenberg Center and at the Agape boarding school going on right now while we speak. I work a full-time job, okay? I've got a lot on my plate. I've got grant writing to do. I've got protests online on the Twitter Bird app and on Facebook to handle. I've got groups that I work with. I do the Mentor to Mentor program. And yet here we are. Again. I love these people now that saying, first of all, Rihanna, this isn't you. Who the hell are you people to tell this woman who the hell she is? It seems to me by impressions, and no, I do not listen to her music. As we know, I am a metal and old rock fan with classical, and of course, I like my musicals. Woohoo, Fiddler on the Roof, okay? Are you really going to tell a grown-ass woman who the hell she is? How is that not misogyny, folks? How is it not misogyny to sit there and try to tell a woman what she can and cannot do and think or not think? You throw that word at us supporters of JD often enough that you don't really seem to realize when you're engaging in that very exact behavior. You've attacked Britney Spears. You have attacked Rihanna, two women who are victims of abuse. Okay? Who are you? You certainly don't get to dictate who the hell a victim is just because they don't fall in lockstep with your insanity. Okay? Stop it. Because you are more guilty of the sin of misogyny than a single Depp supporter out there. We don't tell you what to think. We just ask that you do think. I know that's hard for some of you all, but do try. Do try. And then we have these magazines, they just fall in lockstep. You all don't even try. You don't even try. You don't want to try because you'd rather be invested with what everybody else is going along with than to act like an individual and use your own damn head. Now let's talk about the idiots coming in there. Oh, but they were mutually abusive. The texts. Let's talk logic here. Shall we? Let's get into psychology. We all know I've studied. That special autistic hyperfocus, no less. So come at me. Something that is very common with most abuse survivors, whether it be childhood abuse or whether it's adulthood DV, is revenge fantasies. Also, what is common is venting to one's friends. You're going to sit there and tell me that you never fought vile things against someone who's wronged you? Mother of God, my brother and I tease each other about bodily harm all the time. We're not actually going to hurt each other. In fact, if anyone ever tried any shit like Miss A.H. pulled on my brother, they haven't seen hell yet. They haven't seen hell yet. Okay? Having revenge fantasies is very common amongst those who are survivors of DV and childhood abuse. For the love of God, when I was a kid, I drew full-blown freaking comics. Graphic ones. Usually that had something to do with pulling out my abuser's intestines and strangling him with them. You think Johnny was bad? Somewhere circling around here. Those comics are somewhere around here. Yeah. Yeah. Revenge fantasies are real, folks, especially amongst survivors. It's a thing. Are you really going to come in on your high horse and tell me I'm an abusive monster because I had revenge fantasies because of the hell I was going through? Really? Let's talk about venting for a moment, shall we? Which one of you can look me in the eye and tell me you have never sent a nasty text to a friend due to someone wronging you? You can't. Not with honesty. We've all done it. We're human. We're not Jesus. We are not sinless, so to speak. For lack of a better analogy, while I'm this much not awake yet. Because if you try to sit there and tell me that you've never sent a venting text that is all 7 kinds of nasty, you're lying. We've all done it. Whether we've done it through text message, through a phone call, please. Remember, I've been around hospitals my whole life. The women tend to group together. If they are annoyed at their husband, do you think they don't say something? Really? Now, let's turn that up to 11 and say that this person is abusing you. For God's sake, she cut off a part of his damn finger. The worst thing that he does is vent to a friend. Oh, horror! How awful. How does that make it equal to what she did? These texts were never sent to her. She never even knew of their existence until this case. They were not used in any way to harass her or hurt her. If you actually read through the entire text, you will see down at the bottom where he says, "But I shouldn't be like that. I love this person." But you all like to clip that part out, don't you? Yeah. Please spare me the bullshit about how you've never vented and said some nasty shit about somebody in a text message and what you'd like to do to them in your anger because you're lying. Now let's talk about that fucking TMZ video you all like to cling to. Guess what? You are being ableist as hell. You are not only putting him down when you're calling it abusive, you're calling every single neurodiverse person who has to deal with meltdowns abusive. Who the hell do you think you are? You all like to throw the word privilege around like confetti, but you don't seem to understand exactly how privileged you are. Sure, you snap, but it's not like us neurodiverse folks when we are overwhelmed. Are you really going to victim blame him for being pushed into a meltdown in which he harmed, oh, shock and horror, inanimate objects? His is tame in comparison to some of the shit I've got up to during meltdown. I can tell you that. But he never harmed her in that video, did he? In fact, he did what he always did and actually left the situation before he got to that point, didn't he? Which, by the way, takes enormous self-control. The fact that he still had the presence of mind while in the middle of a meltdown, no less, to actually leave the situation before somebody got hurt, speaks a hell of a lot about his strength of character and strength of will. I couldn't do that. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be able to do that. I have no presence of mind during my meltdowns. None. None. It's full-on animal brain for me at that point. It's ableist as hell, people. You are condemning an entire community with millions of people all over the world because you want to smear a single man because she said so. Check your own goddamn neurotypical privilege at the door. Thank you. If you want to leave your comments about that particular situation, I would appreciate it because I'd like to know that I'm not alone here and I'm not the only one who's seen this ableistic double standard bullshit. And I'm going to say it again for the people in that back. That privileged, neurotypical, lying, abusive, narcissistic bitch will never speak for me. I speak for me. All right? Let's not get it twisted here. All right, now to the usual disclaimers. In the description box, folks, you're going to see the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavioral modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused to comply, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share on all your social media. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding folks in case the JRC has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have linked in all the links pertinent to the Shut Agape Boarding School Down situation. Agape Boarding School is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has pending over 21 allegations, claims, and civil lawsuits, all of which have been corroborated by investigations done by the Missouri Department of Social Services that include child abuse, sexual abuse and sodomy of minors, psychological and emotional abuse, starvation, and child trafficking, and that's just touching the surface. We have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another, a doctor who still lives on the premises, up on multiple substantiated claims of sodomy and sexual assault against the boys there. We got an attorney general too busy running for Washington to do his goddamn job and get those boys out. We also, let's see here. Again, I can't brain today. I've dealt with so much stupid this morning that I can't even see straight. So give me a moment here. Let me collect my thoughts. So, folks, please share those links on all your social media. Don't forget to share and sign the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. We got the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and we talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and under and they are watching this channel, Parental supervision is advised. It is 4:33 a.m. in the morning, and as you've noticed, Tiffany can't brain today, so if I stumble over my words, apologies in advance, all right? All right, okay, good. Now, can I please get back to current situations where children are in fucking danger right now while we're talking? Thank you, Neurotypical Society. Let's listen to a case where kids and people are actually going through abuse. Where we left off yesterday, almost all the persons listed as sources for information for the MDRI report have testified in Massachusetts for bills that would, if passed, ban the use of adversives. Oh, the horror! We're not going to talk about their credentials, of course. We're not going to talk about the fact that they're survivors, they're psychiatrists, they're psychologists, they're peoples with doctorates and master's degrees. We're not going to talk about the fact that ARC was there. ARC being a national group that oversees the treatment and care for people with a variety of disabilities, including those with the severity that the JRC likes to toot all the time. We're not going to talk about that NAMI, also known as the National Association of Mental Illness, got involved. We're not going to talk about the parent groups and ABA groups that came for their ass. No, we're just going to give you a vague-ass term and just make you assume it's all us advocates and it's all our fault and we're too stupid to know what's good for us. Right, doctor? I'm salty this morning, folks. Can you tell? After trying unsuccessfully as pass such bills for 24 years, the proponents of these bills are looking to the United Nations Rapporteur on Torture for help with their political cause. It's not a political cause, you idiot! Trying to save children from torture is as unpolitical as it fucking gets. The JRC likes to pretend that us advocates have an agenda. We're targeting them because we want power. No, doctor. That's what you neurotypicals do. We don't give a shit about power. The only power we give a shit about is if it's going to free our fellows from your psycho ass. That's it. That's the only kind of power that I want. It's the only kind of power I care about. Is will it give me the ability to at least assist in the smallest way possible, if that's all I can do, to get those kids the fuck out of your insanity. That's it. That's it. I have no political aspirations beyond that. Only helping my own. Only helping them not be abused, not be tortured, and be educated in an environment where they don't have to live in fear 24/7. Okay? You starve those kids. You deprive them of sleep. You shock them in compliance with a device that is designed, by your own words, doctor, to hurt them. It is 3 more times powerful than a police taser, beasting my ass. By the way, thank you for minimizing bee stings, you asshole. Those things hurt, they fester, they can cause infections. I, to this day, as a full grown-ass woman and adult, will see a bee or a hornet and haul ass like the devil's on my heels. Okay? It's not political. I'm not trying to get money or fame from this. Have you seen how they treat those of us who do have fame? Look at poor Johnny. I don't need that shit. Poor guy. That's how you treat us when we do have fame. You think we're going to sign up for it? We're not as naive and stupid as people like this in the medical model want you to believe we are. Oh, we start out that way as kids. We are very trusting. We like to take people at their word. But by the time you manage to reach my age, we are jaded at this point as fuck. Okay? They failed for 24 years because you have the Massachusetts courts by the balls, JRC. You corrupt motherfuckers have been putting money in pockets for years and years and years. You've been holding that outdated 1986 decree over the head of the Massachusetts courts for decades. Decades. And they continue to do nothing and allow that outdated decree to stand, in spite of the fact that it does not match now the new advancements in the treatment of people with autism, including the leaps and bounds that pharmaceuticals have jumped, or the leaps and bounds in the many different kinds of treatments and programs one can place someone with a disability in. For the love of God, the one I was put in is just an example of many. And as I stated yesterday, yes, I was one of those autistics that had some very troubling self-injurious behaviors and some very troubling aggression as a kid. Oh, I was good at hiding it. But nonetheless. Okay? However, using person-centered planning, not a philosophy, doctor, but actually utilizing it as a part of my treatment program alongside my medical team and my circle of support, has allowed me to be out here on my own since I was 19 fucking years old. Okay? No adversives in sight. No ABA, just say. We appealed to the UN, doctor, because we had nowhere else to go. You've got these politicians wrapped around your finger so much that we had to think outside the box to save these kids. Because they do need to be saved, doctor. You can't sit there and listen to the screams of Andre McCollins and call it treatment when he's screaming and begging for his life, begging you to stop. That's not medicine. That is torture, pure and simple. Pure and simple. So we reached out to the one guy we hadn't reached out to yet to get some people to come in there and independently investigate. Because you all sure are not going to tell us what the hell's going on. Matter of fact, you fought and fought and fought and fought and fought and fought and fought to keep that video from ever seeing the light of day. If your medicine is so goddamn awesome, why did you fight so hard to keep that video suppressed? Why did you, Matthew Israel, end up convicted and actually had to leave the program due to the fact that you were caught destroying evidence in regard to a situation where two kids were shocked over 71 times each, if it's so great? Why do you have something to hide if it's helping them? And I find it interesting how you are targeting MDRI in particular. Again, you're not going after ARC. You're not going after Easter seals. You're not going after March of Dimes. You're not calling Autism Speaks traitors, even though, let's face it, they're problematic as fuck on their own. Don't even get me started on that anti-vax bullshit. I can go all day. You're not coming after any of these groups. You're coming specifically by a group that was formed by and for people with disabilities. that essentially has enlarged our ranks where we have doctors, psychologists, people with master's and doctorate degrees, clinicians, as well as people with various disabilities. I noticed you didn't mention anything about ADAPT, and ADAPT has been coming for your ass for a long time. A long time. Now, you're going to focus on this particular group who appealed to the UN, not the other groups that also appealed to the UN and signed that letter. Matter of fact, let's pull that up, shall we? And then we'll go ahead and close out. Like with them threatening NeuroClastic, this place likes to target self-advocacy organizations. It's very apparent. So let's see here, shall we? Let's pull up that report. We're going to go to the end of it so that we can see everybody who signed that letter. And I do apologize in advance, I do not have an edit button. By the way, you see what this is, Doctor? Receipts. Okay, so these are individual letters. There's the National ADAPT. Remember, I just mentioned them. ASAN. CAFETI. That is the Community Alliance for Ethical Treatment of Youth, by the way. Another big group. Here's the MDRI. So let's see here. This is the particular article, I believe, that they were talking about. See here. We're going to go to the very bottom because we've already done videos on this particular report here. And remember, it was pretty long. Let me see. See if I can find the signatures. Sorry, it's been a moment, folks. I got to go back a bit. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to have to find this particular one here another day. But you see my point, don't you? Let's go through here. We can actually, because this is a massive archive. See here. Inhumane practices. Oh, and let's not forget the New York Department of Special Education came out on them, against them. Search the archive, folks. I'm sorry I don't have more time this morning. I gotta eat. I got a little bit more exercise to do because I don't want to do it this afternoon because Tiffany's lazy today. It speaks for itself that they target the advocacy groups. They don't target the parent groups. They don't target ARC. They don't target Easter Seals. They don't target much of Dimes or the ABA groups that have come against them. Why is that? Because they believe these groups are soft targets. They work off of the innate ableism that's out there in neurotypical society by basically trying to say, you misunderstand. These advocates, they don't understand. They're not at the level of our students here. And you shouldn't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, yes, we do, doctor. Yes, we fucking do. We got receipts. And like always with the truth, the receipts speak for themselves, don't they? Don't they just? And I'm going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this one. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I may end up doing a video just because I'm tired of dealing with the stupid that I deal in and day out with the fucking bird app. That is going to be specifically on in regards to PTSD and survivors of DV and child abuse. What are revenge fantasies and those vengeful texts? And why we should not be calling it horrible abuse or verbal abuse. But before I do all of that, which I'll probably be doing on Tuesday, verbal abuse, by its very terminology, has to be done to the person. It's self-explanatory, folks. Me sending a text to you about another person, but not sending it to that person. Me venting to another person is not abusing you. I'm not saying anything to you. Why is logic in such small commodities these days? Use your heads. All right. I do appreciate your time, folks, and as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.